Okay, welcome back, Godot users. Today I want to fix up my health bar. Currently, it just gives a percentage, and what I want to do is I want to mimic what we are doing in Game Maker in class, and that's have the health bar start out as green, but as it moves to the left, it loses its intensity and becomes darker, and when it gets to a certain point, it actually turns red to warn the player that their health is really in or their life is in jeopardy because of their low health. So I actually had to use or put a search out or a request out to Facebook to figure out how to do this. I will admit that this is all new learning for me, coloring the progress bar. But I do think I have it figured out. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go into the progress bar, and one of the things I'm going to disable is showing the percent. I don't want that, so I'm going to get rid of that. And what I do want is I want a foreground color and a background color. So to do so, I'm going to, you might not find that custom styles is open yet, but I'm going to go into, I'm going to enable my foreground color. I'm going to say it's a new style box flat, and that's going to give me an opportunity to choose a color, which I want green for now. And then, oops, I accidentally closed that. And I also want to come down here to background color. Now, one thing that is interesting, you'll notice that even though this is foreground, it says BG color, and I don't know if that's a mistake, like like an error or something, a bug in Godot, but it's there, and so the background, what's behind the green, actually gets enabled down here. Again, new style box black, and I want it to be black. So when I take damage, let me show you, and the green goes down. There's black behind it, but you can see that my color doesn't really change, and so I do want that to happen. I do want this bright green, which shows health and vitality, to become a little bit dimmer and to show that our situation has I can't think of the word, degraded or gotten worse. So in order to do this, I'm going to go into my player, and I'm going to add right here where health bar changed. It does change the value, but I also want to change the color. So to do so, I'm going to say get node progress bar, and I'm going to call a script that doesn't quite yet exist yet, and that's change color. And I'm going to have to pass along the health information for it to be able to successfully do that. So I'm going to attach a script to progress bar, and I am going to need to do some things. So number one, I'm going to need to set up my red default color. So I find that when I set my color up and I choose my color, so this may not be exactly what I had previously because I had practiced this, but I basically took the value here, divided it by 1 to get my 0.16. So this is the red contribution. This is how much red I want in my color when it starts. And so I have a starting red value. I'm also going to create a variable for red because this is going to change. And in my ready function, I'm just going to make sure that my red contribution to that color is the default. And then I'm going to have a function called change color that is going to utilize health. So now here's something I did not know, and that's how to access this property, this under foreground, how to get this BG color and to be able to change it. So I did reach out to Facebook. I did get an answer, and to do so, you say you have to give it a name. So we'll call it style box, but this could be named anything, and that's going to equal get. And inside of parentheses, we need to figure out, okay, what is it that we're trying to get? In this case, if I hover over this, you can see that it, so right here, you can see it says custom styles FG. So that's what we're trying to access. We're trying to access this. So get custom styles FG. So that's now going to allow us to access that property. And again, I had never done that. I didn't realize that's how you do it, but it does work. I've practiced this. The next thing we need to do is create a variable that's going to handle how much green is in our color. So again, it's going to be a percentage. So we're going to take health and we're going to divide it by 100. Now, one thing that I've noticed is that when you do some dividing, sometimes if you don't include some decimals, it will round to the nearest whole number. So I'm going to include some decimals there because I think they're necessary in order for us to actually get a percentage or numbers to the right of the decimal. So that looks good. And then I don't think we'll do that. So then what I do want to have happen is if health is less than 35, so 35%, then I want to increase each time this is updated the amount of red that it shows up in our color. And I'll of course show you this, but I was pretty satisfied with this result after I played with it. Now I do want to build in a some sort of fail safe in case the player is able to recover some health, because if I don't do this, then even if it gets back to full vitality and full strength, that red would still exist in the color. So I'm also going to say if it's not less than 35, then red should be equal to the red default. And I haven't actually built in any sort of power up, so I guess I won't be able to prove to you that this works, but hopefully in the future it will. And then the last thing I have to do is say style box, which is this property that I got here. So style box is equal to that particular property. I'm going to change the background color because if you remember, if you go here, now we've said this is what we want to access, but the color itself is BG color. So we're going to say the BG color is going to be equal to capital C color, and then our red value, which could change. It could be the default, or it could have red added to it if our health has reached a certain point. And then health divided by 100, which I guess probably we don't need to do that. We can say green contribution because we've already done that math up here. And then the last thing we're going to do is say we don't want any of the blue. So we have red, green, and the blue is going to be set to 0. So I did make a few changes from my notes. Hopefully, though, it'll still work. Now, one thing that will be a little bit crazy is currently, I think we can only take 50 damage from our collisions with the enemy. But you can see it does drop the green intensity, but we can't really see it to when it gets red. So I'm going to do just a temporary thing that I definitely don't want to keep in our game. And that's we'll have every frame, some of the health be taken away. So at every frame, we're going to say health minus equals, we'll say 10, and we'll times that by delta. So it's not super fast. And then we'll just say that we need to run health changed every time this happens. So hopefully we can see the gradual change, see our health bar turn red when it gets below 35, and see how that all looks. So you can see my every frame getting less and less. Now when it gets below 35, you can see it turns red and eventually goes away. So I had to play around with it. I did have to reach out to Facebook to find an answer. I should have written down who answered the question for me, because that would have been really nice, but I forgot to do that. Maybe I'll credit those users in a future video. But that's our health bar. It looks pretty good. Play it one more time. You can see that it's fully green when we start. It gets less green as we take damage, and then when it reaches a certain point, it turns red to warn the player that death is imminent. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you learned something new, please don't forget to hit the like button. Gives me good feedback, keeps me going, and feel free to add this to your game. And hopefully in the future, when you want to do something with a color, you'll remember this lesson and successfully implement it. Thanks for watching.